Everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran. Those words came from the President of the United States, directed at the capital city of Iran. 8.7 million people. One warning: 5 days of escalating war. This is how close we are to World War III. 5 days ago, the unthinkable became reality. Israel launched a surprise attack on Iran's nuclear facilities. Day 5 of what could become the war that reshapes the entire Middle East. Iran's top military commanders are dead, nuclear sites are burning, and now the President of the United States is telling millions of civilians to run for their lives. This isn't just about Israel and Iran anymore. This is about whether we can stop a regional conflict from becoming a global catastrophe. Israel's calculation was brutal but simple. Better to risk regional war now than face a nuclear-armed Iran later. In the early hours of Friday morning, Israeli jets crossed into Iranian airspace with one mission: destroy the nuclear program that threatens their existence. The strikes weren't random, they were surgical, targeting uranium enrichment facilities, research centers, and the scientists who run them. Netanyahu's government had been planning this for months, waiting for the perfect moment when Iran's defenses were vulnerable. Preemptive self-defense, Netanyahu called it. But the world is learning that preemption in the nuclear age carries consequences no one can control. What began as Israel's desperate gamble has become everyone's nightmare. Mohammad Bagheri, Iran's armed forces chief of staff, never saw it coming. Neither did Hossein Salami, head of the Revolutionary Guard. Two of Iran's most powerful military leaders eliminated in the opening hours of Israel's assault. These weren't random casualties of war, they were deliberate assassinations designed to decapitate Iran's military command structure. Israel didn't just want to damage Iran's nuclear program, they wanted to paralyze its ability to respond effectively. But killing Iran's top generals has done more than eliminate military targets. It's created martyrs. And in Iranian culture, martyrs demand revenge that transcends all political calculation. No American president has ever told the citizens of another nation's capital to evacuate their homes. Not during the Cold War, not after 9/11, not even before the Iraq invasion. Trump's warning to Tehran breaks every diplomatic protocol. Everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran. The message wasn't delivered through diplomatic channels or official statements. It came via Trump's Truth Social platform, reaching millions instantly. Modern warfare conducted through social media posts. 8.7 million people live in Tehran. Where exactly does Trump expect them to go? And what does he know about Israeli plans that prompted such an unprecedented warning? Netanyahu is claiming victory before the war is over. The strikes have set Iran's nuclear program back years, he announced Monday, standing in the same war room where he's conducted daily calls with Trump. But intelligence experts question these claims. Iran's nuclear program is dispersed across dozens of sites, many underground and heavily fortified. Can 5 days of airstrikes really eliminate decades of nuclear development? The International Atomic Energy Agency found just last week that Iran wasn't complying with non-proliferation obligations for the first time in 20 years. If Netanyahu's claims are true, those violations may have been more advanced than anyone realized. While Trump hints at American involvement, Europe is begging for restraint. EU High Representative Kaja Kallas delivered a stark warning. US military intervention would definitely drag the entire Middle East into broader conflict. This is in nobody's interest, Kallas emphasized after emergency consultations with EU foreign ministers. But her words carry limited weight when regional powers are already choosing sides. Europe's position reveals the growing transatlantic divide. While Trump considers military options, European leaders still believe in diplomatic solutions. The question is whether diplomacy can work when missiles are already flying. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi isn't backing down. Speaking with European counterparts, he declared that Israel's attacks deal a huge blow to diplomacy. Iran believes the time for talking is over. Iranian missiles have been flying toward Israeli cities for 4 straight days. Each launch represents Iran's calculated escalation. designed to prove that Israel's surprise attack hasn't broken their military capability. The strikes on Iranian state TV during live broadcasts weren't just military targets, they were psychological warfare. Israel is demonstrating that nowhere in Iran is safe, not even their propaganda headquarters. Trump's Truth Social warning included a bitter reminder: Iran should have signed the deal I told them to sign. He's referring to the 2015 Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, the Iran nuclear deal that Trump himself abandoned in 2018. The deal was designed to prevent exactly this scenario. Iran would limit nuclear development in exchange for sanctions relief. But when Trump withdrew during his first presidency, Iran began enriching uranium beyond any civilian purpose. Now, Trump is claiming the war could have been avoided if Iran had signed his replacement deal. Iran and Israel don't speak directly. America and Iran haven't had formal relations since 1979. The next 48 hours will determine whether diplomacy can still work, or whether we've passed the point of no return. Trump's evacuation warning isn't just about Tehran. It's about whether humanity has learned anything from the wars that nearly destroyed us before. The choice isn't between Israel and Iran. It's between escalation and restraint, between nationalism and survival. What happens next depends on leaders willing to step back from the brink. The question is, are there any left?